Hey everybody, and welcome to Alan's Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on this bald cypress. And I acquired this tree from a friend of mine who is liquidating her collection. And there's a number of things I want to do with this tree. First, I want to change the front. This is the front that we see right now. Here's the pot. And it looks pretty decent, but I want to change the front. Secondly, I really believe that almost all of the main branches are too heavy. So I'm going to cut all of them off, except for the first two main branches, my right branch and my left branch. In the front, if you can see here, okay, here obviously we have the leader of the front now, but there's this guy in the back. So if I can spin this baby around, the new front, is going to be about right there. And it already has knees, which is very interesting. So it's going to come up here and then get rid of this guy. Actually, can I do that left-handed? Probably not. And cut everything off that's in the way. So there's my new leader right here. It's thinner and it's newer because you can see how light brown the bark is compared to the more gray. And you see these branches here are just too heavy. So when I take those branches off, another thing I want to do is I want to try to root those branches. And the reason I'm doing it right now is because it's already beginning to bud. If you look real close, there's little baby buds coming off of virtually every branch. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to picture mode and take a close-up picture, because this camera does not focus well close up at all. I've never actually attempted to root hardwood cuttings of bald cypress, but I've seen it done. So now when I take off all of the branches, it's going to be pretty bare. However, there is all kinds of new sprouts. If we look right here, there's a baby sprout right there, and then there's another sprout right there, which happens to be coming off of just below this small limb that died away. But there's sprouts popping all over this trunk. Here's another tiny little one right there, and another one right above it. And so what will happen when I take off all these large branches is they will sprout everywhere. Here's a few more. There's another one right there. Another one right there. They will sprout like crazy. So I'm going to remove the top, make this the apex, and try to make it a completely formal upright. So this will be the new front right here with a younger apex. Oops, sorry. And if you notice, virtually every branch on this tree is wired. Virtually every branch, even the apex, is wired. So the first order of business is to get rid of all the wire. Then I'm going to cut the branches, but since I want to use them as cuttings, I'm going to concentrate on that next. And I have my cutting medium here, along with one piece of wire that I've already removed. And my rooting medium is about 80% perlite and 20% potting soil. I like to use a little bit of potting soil in there and one oak leaf. I have 4 huge oaks in my yard. I like to use the potting soil because perlite is fantastic for rooting cuttings because it retains moisture, plus it has great drainage, but it has 0 nutrients. So the organic matter just adds a little bit of nutrients, so that once the rootings do begin to cut, Okay, once the cuttings begin to root, I do know English, I swear. Now where was I? Once the cuttings begin to root, there's a little bit of organic matter in the soil for them to feed off of. So that's the deal. Plus I like to put them into a solution, which is, this is seaweed extract. And look, there's a name on the cup, Alan. Maybe this is why this channel is called Bonsai by Alan. Anyway, my mom gave me this cup for my birthday or Christmas like 30 years ago, maybe longer than that. And I'm still using it, except now to stick cuttings in. So, step number 1, get rid of the wire. Step number 2, cut all the branches off. Step number 3, take those branches, dip them in the rooting hormone, and put them into the cutting tray. And step number 4, then I need to work the apex. You see the apex right now has a pretty large scar right there. And I think I'm going to keep that. And I know it's hard to see because of the foliage in the way. But I'm going to turn that into gin. I may even save a portion of the apex that I have now and make that into gin. And then if it doesn't work, if I don't like it, if it's not really, doesn't turn out the way I want, I can always cut it off. I can always just saw it the same way this was sawed, just where the new apex is going to be, which is right there. So, you know, saw it like that. But for now, I'm going to turn it into gin. So I've got a lot to do on this tree. And so let's get started on the wire. Removing. All the wire is off. And actually, from here, it really doesn't look like a bad tree. But I'm still going to take off all those large limbs because they're just too big. And actually, if you look, I'm not sure which, we're looking at the old front right now. I'm not sure which one of these I'm going to use as branch number 1 and branch number 2, but any one of them is thinner than any of the rest of these guys up here. So that's a huge no-no as far as design. You want your thicker branches to be at the base of the tree, at the bottom of the tree. Your 2 lower branches should be the thickest. So now I'm going to concentrate on taking cuttings. I'm not going to really concentrate on removing the limbs. I'm going to concentrate on taking cuttings. So I'm going to remove as many limbs as I can get in my little Allen cup, and then begin to put them, dip them into my rooting hormone here, which is just your basic indole butyric acid, nothing special, and then directly into the tray. And I stuck a few pieces of small wire in there. So that's the next order of business. Then I'm going to save the bottom, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. So work from the top down, because I'm still undecided about what branches I want to keep for my main branches. So the first one, it's a pretty simple process. So since I'm right-handed and we're right here, so let's take this guy off. Oh, and there's another thing I want to say. Where can I, oh, right here. I think I've already showed you this piece of growth. This little guy, let me get my scissors. That little guy right there. Do you notice he's directly below an old small branch? And there's a bunch of growth like that that comes out directly below an old branch. So when I cut this baby, and in fact you can even see it here, sorry for the camera, there's a little tiny piece right there, just barely coming. So when I take this branch off, that will be the new branch that comes out. And actually, bald cypress, even though it's a conifer, it has the ability to sprout off of old wood like crazy. Just absolutely crazy. Look at this branch here. it's sprouting all up and down, all up and down, all up and down. And it will do the same thing on the trunk once I've taken all the branches off. So once again, since I'm right-handed, cut that guy off. Oh, I caught him. Ah! And then put him in the goo. Take the next one. Oh, he flew. He flew onto my shoulder. Ay, 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 ay. There's the next one. Into the stuff. And take this guy. Yeah, it's a method to my madness. I started grabbing it with my finger. And do him. Into the thing. Put the camera where you actually want people to look at it. Alright, so I'm just going to continue with that. And so the next time you see it, it'll be pretty bare. So I left only 2 branches. They're going to be my first main branches. And they're not in a perfect position. They both need to be wired forward. Plus you notice that they have the weird little swoop in them, and I want them to be perfectly straight in the juvenile upright, formal upright style. The branches should be perfectly straight. Now I left the apex, but there's also a couple of pieces of growth on the apex that are also way too big for how tall they are on the tree. So those come off too. And the apex could possibly be shortened because it goes up pretty far. But right now I'm going to just see how it's doing here. And I got all the cuttings into my cup with the seaweed. And so now the next thing is to put them into the root hormone and get them into the cutting tray, which is actually just a 10-gallon nursery pot cut to about 5 inches high. And that works for me. Since I was a landscaper for 30 years, I've got all kind of pots like this. Most of my cutting trays are old nursery pots. As I rooted the cuttings, I also quote-unquote styled them. So I took off all the little excess crazy growth that was growing all over the place. So you see they're all in somewhat of an upright style. And it would be interesting to see how they root. And then the tree is totally bare except for the first 2 main roots, and I did leave a back branch, a little baby back branch. And now I need to wire these guys into place, and I want to wire the apex completely straight and then do some gin on the old apex. But I'm running out of light, so I'm going to do that tomorrow. So I will continue this video tomorrow. Until then. It is now the next morning, and I've already done the things I was talking about last night. Except I don't think I ever talked about cutting back the 2 main branches, so they were quite long. In fact, I think I have what I cut off, so they were pretty long. But to get ramification on your branches, you want to start from here and then build pads. And we still got all our little babies. I put the apex into position as straight as I could get it. But it's cold this morning. I mean, I think I'm a wimp, you know, having lived in zone 10 for 45 years. When it gets to 50, and I think it's just about 50 degrees outside, I am cold. So I'm not going to do the gin. I'm going to wait on that. Probably in a couple of days, but just till it warms up. And I forgot, I didn't even see it, but I left another branch sticking out here that's eventually going to be on the gin. So I never even saw it when I was working this way. And I do have a back branch. So that's it for this video. I now fully expect all the little tiny buds, Plus, if you notice, I noticed on the apex when I was wiring it, that the apex is at the base of a scar. You can see the scar very plainly. And so I predict that at the base of the scars of all the branches I took off, a new bud will form too. In fact, there's one forming right now. Not that it came from yesterday, but then once it really produces the plethora of buds that it will, then I can just pick and choose the rest of my branches. And so this tree is going to be, you know, out to here, and then basically just a perfect triangle going up to the top, coming down, and on the same way on the other side. And that would take a while, but it's not going to take that long. Bald cypress grow very quickly, and so gin in a couple of days when it warms up, and then probably a couple of months or so before we have some branches to begin to manipulate to create our, it's going to be in the juvenile upright style. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and leave a comment if you don't like the way I whacked it all off. But the thing to do is to subscribe and then hit the notification bell, and then you can watch this guy pop back out, and I can show you just how much better it's going to look with all those old branches, which are now here still as cuttings. And the tree is going to look a whole lot better. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.